on top of the world, about to jump above it. Take it straight to the moon, 'cause we know how to rock it. Ain't no thing you can do, ain't no way to stop it. Now you're feeling it too, let's get it started. Throw your hands in the air while the beat is dropping. Acting like you don't care when everybody's watching. Just keep whipping your hair like yeah, you got it. Yeah, you're feeling it too, let's get it started. I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Off the meter, turn it up, blow the speakers, make them all to believers, break through the surface, tell them open the curtains, give them all what they wanted, yeah, now let's get it started. Let's get it, get it. Yeah, I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? I'm ready. Let's get it started. Yeah, yeah, I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Let's go. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it, get it. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give me something new. Time to break it loose. Take it to another level. Now we on the move. Shout if you coming with me. Going over the limit. On your mark, keep it steady. So tell me, are you ready? I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Daytona International Speedway, as tonight is the NC811 Duel races, twin 30 lappers to set the lineup just like the NASCAR Cup Series does for the Great American Race that just wrapped up last night with Austin Cindric, rookie for Penske Racing, winning the 500. Tonight is the Call Before You Dig Duels to set the lineup for, of course, the big race at Daytona for the NC811 Call Before You Dig Cup Series, sanctioned by the SIM500 Esports League for next Monday night. We're welcome you to iRacing on LSRTV. Good evening. I am Wesley Outland. Joined alongside is John Muschin Jr. and our series analyst statistician throughout the night. You'll hear from Kevin England. John, I bring you to the fold now. We had the privilege to be on the call for the 10-week Blizzard Series. Thanks to Trans Service for providing that. Now, the big boys, a 30-plus week schedule to battle for the SIM500 National Championship. The Duels await us in just moments.
It's the big show, buddy. We're here at Daytona for the Duels. I am so excited about this. I tell you what, we talked during the Blizzard Series how many questions there were about this new package when iRacing would finally release it, how different it was going to be. It is different, Wesley, but it's different in a great way. I'm telling you, man, tonight is going to be some major, awesome, fun racing.
It certainly is. Again, this is the NC811 Call Before You Dig Duel events. And we again want to thank NC811. Remember, before you decide to dig, to plan for bringing in a new swimming pool or a building, any type of infrastructure, make sure you call before you dig. Make sure you don't hit any of those power lines or water lines or anything that could possibly be a hindrance for you and your neighbors around to not become angry ones. Now remember, in North Carolina and all across America, NCC 811, call before you dig. And we appreciate them sponsoring the SIM500 Esports Racing League. I bring now to the fold our statistician. He's going to be our Larry McReynolds throughout the Monday nights every week, and that is Kevin England from New Jersey. Kevin, the drivers, it's time for a reset. You have to put last year behind you, the good, the bad, the ugly. Who are some drivers that we should be keeping an eye on tonight in the dual races before we drop the green rag for the big race next Monday here at Daytona as well?
Yeah, clearly a fresh start for these drivers tonight, and certainly you're going to have to watch last year's major winner, Daniel Falkingham. And how about the surprise of Josh Parker returning to score the top speed for this event? But, there's a bunch of guys here scrapping to get a position in this race. And I just think with the equalizer of Daytona, it should be interesting to watch all the way deep through the pack here.
Going to be a fun time. Kevin England will be joining us throughout the night here from the virtual Daytona for our coverage of iRacing on LSRTV. Let's take a look at the race information here on the bottom left. There you see practice is about to wrap up in about 2 more minutes. The field was set from last week's qualifying, which, of course, your fast qualifier last week was... and that was Josh Parker. He is locked in. He's on the pole for dual race number 1. Obviously, dual race number 2 will be the outside pole driver from qualifying last Monday night, and that is Charles Woods. Now, remember, regardless of what happens, those drivers are on the front row for the Daytona race next Monday night. For everyone else, John, you got to fight for positions, row 2 on back, and there's still an opportunity that if you don't progress, you might not make it in. Of 10 drivers, 4 will not make duel 1, 6 drivers will not make duel 2 amongst the drivers that are in the next 2 dual 30 lappers.
That's right. You cannot afford to mess around or make a mistake in these dual races, or you won't make the show. And that's what it's all about tonight, Wesley. Making the show next week and putting yourself in there with the opportunity to hopefully participate in the Daytona 500. Okay.
Weather conditions as nightfall has settled in at Daytona. Let's look at that real quick. Air temperature at 77 degrees. Wind speed is only 2 miles an hour, so that's not going to be a big issue on downforce, especially down the super stretch tonight. And the track temp is a nice, comfortable 79 degrees, 2 degrees warmer than the air temp. Kevin, I think you were going to say something, buddy. Bring it back to you.
Yeah, looking in this field, there's a lot of different drivers that I think are going to play a factor here tonight. You got former champion Trey Edson in this run. Donnie Leah, I spotted for him last week in a Daytona race, and I know he's got the moves, and I really think this is going to be an interesting event to see some of these guys deep in the pack. They need to come forward, but they also need to have a clean race.
The stage is set. 30 laps coming up for dual race number 1 from Daytona. We're back with more in a moment. This is the SIM500 NCC 811. Call before you dig Cup Series. Duels from Daytona. This is iRacing on LSR TV.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
Welcome back. The field is gritting here at Daytona for the in-1 call before you dig dual race number 1. 30 laps around the 2.5 mile at Daytona. Remember, only 4 drivers will be out when this race concludes, as several drivers are locked in by virtue of the top 30 of the points last year. Let's give you your starting lineup on the pole. Obviously, fast qualifier last Monday night at Daytona. Josh Parker in the number 81 to the outside. Tyler Dalton will make up row 1. In the 19. Row 2, Mike Kelly in the number 2 to the outside. Robert Gillenwater in the number 4. Row 3 tonight, Richard Beasley in the number 10 to his outside. Tommy Ryan in the 99. Row 4 on the grid will find Thomas O'Leary in the 08. Bobby Weitzel from Ohio in the number 9, your top 10.
Chris Gibbo coming in there on row 6 on the inside to his outside. Trey Edson. Row number 7 finds Nelson Rivera in the 22. Paul Crumbrine in the 15 on his outside. Row 8, Doy Woods in the 28 car. To his outside, Donnie Leah in the 29. Row 9 finds Byron Dale in the 06. To his outside, Anthony M. Calantoni in the 84. And rounding out your top 20 here, John Fowler, J. Randall Watkins in the 27.
Row number 11, Eric Arnold in the 31 machine to the outside. Gerald Livingston in that 96 on row 11. Row number 12 will find Scott Simley in the 12 to the outside. Brian V. Macklin in car number 30. That's your top 24. Row out row 13, Mark Creighton of the 20, Tyler Hunter in the car number 70. And that ended up along with David Comstock in the back. 27 cars ready to go. And again, 4 drivers of these 27 will not make the race. Kevin, we throw it back to you before the green. Why are these drivers that are on the outside looking in having to be aggressive before the start to be in the show for next Monday night?
You got 30 laps to get it done. These drivers know they're going to have 1 pit stop. They can go 25 laps on fuel with the 50% ratio for fuel. So they're looking at a green flag pit stop, and there ain't enough time to dilly-dally. These guys got to drive hard all the way from the drop of the green.
Got to be there at the end. Again, this is a fixed series. There is no fast repairs. There is 4 sets of tires that are on the pit lane, plus the set that's being used on those cars. Field will come through this time by with the lights off on the pace car. The pace car makes the left-hand turn. Here they come, ready to set the field for Daytona. Green in the air. It's time for the LSRTV. Feel the roar at the virtual World Center of Racing. Duel 1 is green. The field cycles back around, working now lap number 3. 2 laps in at Daytona in dual race number 1. Parker, fast qualifier, John, back to the lead after he fell back a couple of times to the inside. That's that NC811. That's the Virginia811.com entry on the inside. Parker up on the outside. That's O'Leary coming after him in that car to the inside. Dalton is there. And the way they go to turn 3, still 2 by 2.
Dalton pushing that 81 car of Josh Parker up high. Now, I don't know if you picked up on this before it went green. Wesley, there's damage already on the 10 car. Richard Beasley, right front corner, mashed up a little bit.
Yeah, there certainly is. We'll keep an eye on that. As right now we watch them work their way through the tri-oval back to turn number 1 from the front stretch and trying to stick it 3 wide. The tide ride. Beasley thought about going after him. You're riding on board now with Beasley, the tide ride number 10. He's currently in the number 4 position, but down to the inside comes O'Leary. O'Leary with a burst of momentum, 2 for 1 after as they head down the super stretch.
Going down the super stretch from 2 by 2 by 2. Now you're going to see some bumping here and there sometimes. Not right now. Maybe it's a little too early. As I say that, we got the 2 car, Mike Kelly down there bumping the heck out of O'Leary. Going to give him a push out to the front right there. But what I was going to say, Wesley, is you're going to see some bumping and push drafting on the backstretch and through the tri-oval. Not so much in the turns as preferred, but sometimes you will see, as you see this right now, O'Leary hung out in the middle right there.
Top 18 separated by just less than a second as the field now sticks it 3 wide. Goes for the top spot. Parker down to the outside. Now O'Leary to deal with, and now Kelly now trips up in front of the machine of Dalton and Beasley as they work off of turn number 2. Kevin, want to bring you back in here. What is some stats and history on the man that was fast qualifier last Monday at Daytona, and the man out in front, Mr. Parker, right now in the 81?
Yeah, Josh Parker with 4 wins on the season last year, your series champion. He knows how to get it done. And Josh, he is a driver that can win on these big tracks, on the little tracks. He's a very versatile driver, and right now he has Mr. Pole, almost like Ryan Newman. Ryan running right behind him with Tyler Dalton, one of the best pole winners here. The two of them run fast laps, and they're hooked nose to tail on that outside lane.
Ironically, the colors of the Penske Racing number 2 of Mike Kelly, that Austin Cindric won in Daytona as a rookie driver in the 500 last night, is up in front. He leads the way. Ryan to second. It's in the third. Gabo and Parker top 5, John, as they stayed at turn 3.
Still got 3 cars out front right there, all by themselves. Got a 2x2 back here for the rest of the pack. I tell you what, that outside line had a great head of steam going. I don't know what happened. They got a little disconnected there, and they're going to drop back, lose some ground. As you see right now, that 81 car of Parker falling all the way back to it appears to be about 8th or 9th there, Wesley.
Little slide job under attack. Here comes Ryan now. On board now with Ryan as that driver works his way up on the outside lane, coming after Kelly on the bottom. Edson now moves in to the number 2 spot. Kelly falling back to 4th, 5th, maybe more, as here comes a couple of cars bypassing him. Sitting duck, if you will. Ryan, Virginia 811 machine to the lead. Edson to second. O'Leary third. They all stay in a conga line in the top 6 up off of turn 4.
And just like that, the outside line makes a huge surge. So you see the top 6 cars outside. They're going to kind of go single file right there. Meantime, that inside line led by that 2 car of Mike Kelly, trying to make a pickup, trying to get back up there, give them a fight for the lead.
Big thanks to Brian Morehouse and everybody involved with NC811 Call Before You Dig. But again, as I mentioned, all across the country, Call Before You Dig is involved. You normally have like your state parentheses, if you will, VA 811 up in front. That's Chevrolet of Rhine leading. Edson back there in second spot. That's 99 and 7 on your monitor. Here comes now O'Leary. Parker, the fast qualifier. Defending champion, as Kevin reiterated on. That Pepsi number 81 stays tucked to the outside lane. Back on the inside, Kelly gets some help from Gabo as they work through the tri-oval. And they again coming up on 10 laps completed next time by and 1/3 of the race done.
Now we see a couple of cars trying to make a 3rd line up high. 3 line, 3 wide does not work very well at Daytona for very long. And we've seen it so many times in the past, but they're trying to make it happen. Now, Wesley, we know they're in the pit window right now. I'm wondering how many of these teams have talked about maybe short pitting. Go ahead and pit now, get that pit stop out of the way. And how many of these guys are going to wait and see if a caution doesn't come out before they try and pit?
Kevin, what's the strategy? When do you think you need to pit here in Duel 1? We're coming up on halfway in about 5 laps.
I think what you need is friends. These guys are kind of searching and hunting for different people they want to work with at this point. You see some of them dropping back maybe to pick somebody up. These top 30 drivers in points from last year are guaranteed to make the field. And they got some friends in here that might need a little bit of help. And, well, at minimum, going to pit road, you're going to want to go with friends.
Kevin, I mentioned there were 4 drivers that possibly will not make the event. Who are some drivers that are on the outside looking in Duel 1 we need to watch aggressively try to come to the front as we're now 1/3 of the way through. 20 to go at Daytona in Duel 1.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at Eric Arnold back there in 23rd, a little bit off the pace, and he's got to pick this up and get going. As we said from the beginning, you're just going to have to run wide open, and these guys are going to have to start driving their way through. If you're running out in that tail like Eric Arnold is, you've got to get a move on.
Top 4 cars stay single file in the conga line. Then as they work through the tri-oval, it's doubled up, then 3 wide behind those drivers. Front on back, almost the top 10, separated by half a second, John. Up the high banks is Ryan leading them in turn 1.
I'll tell you what, I've had my eye on that car that's leading the downside road. That 06 car of Byron Daly. He was the one that kind of made the 3 wide up high earlier. Now he's worked his way down to that inside line. But I'll tell you what, Wesley, a surprise here. I'm not real sure what happened, but SIM500's winningest driver, Daniel Falkingham, is no longer in the race.
Falkingham out. We'll send and try to find out some information on that, of what is going on with Falkingham, and he's back on the racetrack now, but all the way back in 26th position, 8 laps down. So Falkingham, not a good start here in that January thirsty number 39 entry for the driver there. And we'll keep an eye and see how things go for that driver that is one of the greats of the SIM500 League out of Jonesport, Maine. As right now, 20 laps are done to go, under 20 remaining, 10 laps are in, and working now lap 11, field to the backstretch into turn 3, and it looks like they're 2 by 2 under caution at full song. Ryan, Dalton, side by side. Leary, Weitzel is there. Here comes now Comstock and Edison going at it off turn 4.
Comstock, there's a name that you're going to want to keep your eyes on. He's one of the more consistent drivers in this league. He'll sneak up there from dead last, and all of a sudden he's for the lead. Keep your eyes on Dave Comstock. In the meantime, up front, Tommy Ryan, Tim O'Leary, Byron Daly. These guys still just duking it out 2 by 2. You'll see the inside line get a little edge, Wesley. Then you'll see the outside line get a little edge. And it's right there. We just saw it. 99 and 08 jump to the outside line. Maybe try and pull them along a little bit.
Working now 12 laps in, down the back straightaway. Ryan still out in front. O'Leary in second. Dalton third, up the inside. Coming Daly. He's now trying to clear by Dalton. They'll work their way off of turn 4. Kevin, what's some information on this driver, the 99 of Ryan? Looking good, trying to take the inside of row 2 for third next Monday night in the real race, one of the series.
Yeah, such an unusual run to see Ryan running up front. Lately, what we've seen from Tommy and his strategy is he's been out back in the hunt, and then he just shows up from nowhere, and to see himself leading the outside train here, good run early, and I guess, you know, when it's time to put your chips on the table, Tommy Ryan, he knows how to get it done here in the super speedway races.
17 to go, coming up on halfway and just a few more laps, and Tommy Ryan is the man out in front. Daly down to the inside, trying to make that silver 06 machine be in his favor. Edson also there. Everyone for the most part, starting to peel off onto the pit lane. And we knew it would happen before halfway, John. Good or bad?
Yes, we did. We knew it was going to happen. I was just watching Donnie Leah. He came in smoking hot. I hope he did not get a speeding penalty. It was close. We're going to have to wait and find out.
Mike Kelly is in. Nelson Rivera is in. Donnie Leah is in. Scott Simley is in. And Gerald Livingston is in. And we're understanding that Falkingham missed the start, and that's why he's so many laps down. 8 laps down. Coming up on halfway next time by, and we're going to see more cars peel off to pit as we approach the second half of this race.
So we saw some great teamwork right there. I mean, I'm not sure if those guys are all teammates, but they're working well together. Get in the pits, get out of the pits. Leah did not get a speed penalty. He was able to exit with those guys. And that's what you need, like Kevin said earlier. You can't pit by yourself here at Daytona. You've got to have help. At least 2 or 3 cars with you. That way you don't lose the draft and wind up going a lap down early.
Halfway home in dual race number 1 of the NC811 Duels at Daytona for the SIM500 NC811 Cup Series. Let's give you your full field rundown as more cars will be pulling off to the pit lane in the next lap or 2 as well. Tommy Ryan leads, followed by Thomas O'Leary the 4th. Tyler Dalton is 3rd. Bobby Weitzel is 4th. Byron Daly is 5th. Brian Macklin is 6th. Flip-flop that now. David Buck will go to 6th. Macklin 7th. Josh Parker now to 9th. Then it's going to be Doy Woods, your top 10 in the early going after halfway.
11th is Chris Gabot. 12th, Richard Beasley. Mark Creighton. Hunter. I'm sorry. Now it's going to swapped up there. Tyler Hunter's going to take that position. Crumry, Calantoni, Fowler, Watkins, Arnold, and Gillenwater round out your top 20.
Rivera, Leah, Kelly, Sidley, Livingston, and Falkingham, also the only car on the racetrack, 9 laps down. The leaders are on the back straightaway going to turn 3. Daly has a run on Ryan as they go back to the corner.
He's got that run, Wesley, but I mean, it's just going to be a matter of how long he can hold on to it. We've just been watching this pretty much the entire race so far, halfway through now. One line will get a run, and then he'll fade back, and the next line will get a run. On the outside line, whichever it might be. It's really fun to watch, but I'll tell you what, as a driver, it's so frustrating. You'll pull ahead, then you'll fall behind.
We'll bring back in our series analysis and statistician, Kevin England. Your take of the first half of the race. So far, quiet. No caution flags, not any aggressive racing at the moment, but I think that's going to change as we go to the home stretch in Duel 1.
Typically, these races are low on cautions. Last year, 3 cautions in this event alone in 30 laps. And what we saw, and I thought was interesting, is those first 4 drivers to peel off, Donnie Luya included with the other teammates, they'll be up to speed, but they're losing time right now with the speed that this pack is driving. It'll be interesting to see when drivers peel off here, how they're going to match up later. And you know, this group has so many drivers. If they all go off together and get clean, I feel like those first 4 drivers might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, the conga line about to become a roller coaster, as you mentioned, Kevin, as John, they work their way now off of turn number 2, about to hit the super stretch down the back straightaway. Daly stays to the inside. He's got some help from the Monster Energy Comstock machine. Ryan now falls back to 3rd. O'Leary, Edson, top 5. First man to the outside is Dalton as they work their way, trying to get something started on the top shelf in 3.
Now, also, don't forget, Wesley, some of these guys with the Highline are going to be trying to work their way down the inside in preparation for making their green flag pit stops. As we see right now, Dalton sneaking his way down the inside line. That's going to leave the 09 there. Sorry, the 9 of Bobby Wessel up high and dry by himself.
Field works their way back through the start-finish line, and they're coming up on 11 laps to go. This is Duel race number 1. Coverage of iRacing on LSRTV for the SIM500 NC811 Cup Series. I'm Wesley Outland, John Muschin Jr. alongside. Kevin England is our series statistician and analyst into the back straightaway. It's about to get good. 2/3 down when they work their way back through the tri-oval here at Daytona as they nestle to turn 3. Now top 5 single file as they work around the corner.
Single file all the way back to about 12th, it looks like there, Wesley. Kind of a first time we've seen that in our entire race. And here we go, a Buffalo Stampede onto pit road. Almost everybody that has not pitted yet is coming in.
Whoa, Parker really on the binders as he got to the pit commitment cone. Cannot be speeding. You'll suffer a penalty, and that could be disastrous for next Monday's race, Kevin, as they're now on the pits.
Yeah, we know these drivers have to pit with at least 5 to go, and this is the whole field pretty much in. No tires, unless they decide they can get those right side tires done before fuel goes in, and a lot of them are down and away. They need a good run back to the racetrack here in order to stay in contention. And we see those 4 drivers coming back to them. They got ahead of speed here. It's going to be interesting to see how they map up as they come off turn 2.
Race off pit road is now going to put Edson up in the front of the spot. Number 7, there he is, the Personal Comfort Chevrolet. He'll power back up behind the blend line on the back straightaway and come up to speed, but here comes the other cars that didn't pit, flying by him like just a sitting duck, if you will, John, as they go to turn 3, and this will separate the pack with 10 to go.
Well, that was Rivera, Leah, Kelly, and Silmy. Those guys all pitted way earlier, so they do not have to pit again. That was the battle for the lead right there. That's going to get the lead over to Rivera. So far, we've had no cautions laps, but we have had 5 lead changes. I don't know about that number, Wesley. It just seems like it was so much more when we were watching it earlier.
Gotta wonder if that yellow flag might be coming, but obviously with under 10 to go, it has now separated the pack in separate different formations around the 2.5-mile tri-oval. You see this big gaggle of traffic right there. That's the Snakes patch, if you will. As Edson pulls away, he's now into 5th. That's behind 5th on back as Rivera, Leah, Kelly, Simley, your top 4. And there's that conga line going to turn 3 for the lead.
Now these guys, these 4 cars, like I said earlier, they pitted probably way back about 10, 15 laps ago. They're good to go to the end of the race. Now the question is, are they going to be able to stay this far out front, almost a 5-second lead ahead of that pack? I don't think so. Kevin touched on this earlier. These 4 cars were maybe about a 10th or 2 slower than the biggest pack of cars we had. So that'll be something to keep our eye on if those guys back there can catch them the next 8 laps.
Kevin England, I bring it back to you as our statistician with 8 laps to go through the Trans-Service Cup Series Blizzard program, and obviously leading up down to the SIM500 NC811 Cup Series Duels here tonight at Daytona. A lot of work has been going on back and forth for this fixed setup series with this new next-gen car. Just like with the real Cup Series, this series has been dealing with it as well. Your take of what we're seeing so far in the final 10 laps of Duel 1.
Yeah, the drivers talked about this car all through the winter season, the changes that were made in the service, and they wanted to learn. And it feels like learning time is over, as we heard in the big broadcast. Now the question is, what can you do to get yourself in position? We have 4 drivers that are in trouble here. Cumry, it looks like Fowler, Watkins, and Eric Arnold all have to find some pace here in these final laps. Time is ticking out for those guys.
And they're going to work their way down the super stretch with 7 laps to go. Pulling out of line. When does that happen? When does friends become foes? When does foes become friends? When do you hang it all out to dry and hang on your own? As right now, Parker has all up under the going on in the position number 6 and 7. On the racetrack right now, the field separated now 4 seconds through the top 10 to the line. 6 to go. Single file. Parker ready to make a move, but when, John? Back to turn 1.
When is the question, Wesley? Here's another thing to keep in mind. If you're already locked in, do you get aggressive? Do you need to get aggressive?
Right.
Or do you just need to worry about who's behind you that's not locked in? I think that be foremost on my mind right there.
Just hold your line. The Lari Esports entry number 22. Rivera. That Ford. It's a Ford, a Ford, a Ford. 1, 2, and 3. And hey, let's add another Ford in the top 4 with Simley. They're pulling away. 5 to go when they come back to the line, this time by through the tri-oval. Open hand from your flagman in Duel 1. Top 4 cars. This is the race battle as they settle single file down to turn 1.
Now, since we talked about it a few laps ago, that second pack led by Dalton back there in 5th, they have closed the gap on these front 4 by about a half a second. So we're talking about 5 laps it took them to get a half a second. I think, Wesley, they're going to be able to catch these guys before the end of the race.
You see the top 4 now, right there. Donnie Leah. Yes, Donnie Leah, a real driver from Woodbury, New York, 43 years old, one of the greats of modified racing. Up around your neck of the woods, Kevin, and trying to win here in Duel 1. He's in 2nd. Your take on this driver?
Yeah, Donnie's cool and collected. He knows how to get the job done. He's just kind of pacing it. The question is, you know, it's where you start in the 500 for next week, the 500K, really isn't that big of a deal. But they want to win this race. Donnie's a racer, and he wants to win. The question is, will the 2 teammates of Kelly and Simley work with him, or are they going to try and win this? We're going to find out in just a few laps.
And they still say single file. Leah starting to get a little wiggle and a jiggle and a giggle and a bobble on the 22 of Rivera. Rivera plays blocker. He goes to the outside, up the racetrack, back down to the inside. Leah can't to go and ready to pounce like a coiled cobra is that number 2 that looks just like the car that won the 64th Great American Race, the rookie for Penske Racing of Austin Cindric. That's actually Kelly in the 2. And behind him is Simley. What a drive for him. They go back with 3 to go to turn 1.
You know, Kevin brought up an interesting point. Those are his teammates behind him. But you know what? There's an old saying, when the green flag drops, friendship stops. You got to think that applies to teammates as well. We've seen it in real life. We've seen it in sim racing a lot. When it comes down to it, Wesley, you want to win the race to hell with your teammate. And I think that's probably what we're going to see here is a possibility of just all 4 of these guys duking it out for that 1 spot, the lead.
Parker, the fast last Monday night in qualifying, is right now in 7th. Have at it, boys. Top 4, stay single file. When do you break out of the line? And so far, no yellow flag. 2 to go from the start-finish line. Rivera holding on to the lead. Leah 2nd. That 4-car battle beginning to shrink because the second pack is coming with Dalton back to 1.
Second pack is 2.8 and closing behind these guys, but will they have enough time? We're at 2 to go, going down the backstretch now. Rivera, Leah, Kelly, Simley, still at 4-pack out front. Rivera looking in his mirror right now, Wesley. You know he's mirror driving. And hey, it's not even a real mirror now. It's a virtual mirror that gives you a great view of where that guy is behind you. You can see him. You can see your spoiler. You know where he's going to be. You know where he's thinking about going. So I imagine we're going to see a lot of blocking here on the final lap from Rivera.
Lap car gets out of the way. They work their way through the tri-oval, coming to the CRN, 1 to go. Basketball from college and high school in the playoffs and the tournament. All coverage beginning tomorrow at wearecrn.com. One more lap to go. The driver from New York, New York, Nelson Rivera, holding the line. Leah, Kelly, Simley, when do you break out of line to make your move? They're off turn 2 for the final time into a 1.
Do they break out of line to make their move? Do they just settle in right here? Who knows? If it's me, if I'm Leah right here, going into 3, this is where I make my move to try and pass up that 22 of Nelson Rivera as we come through 3 and 4. In the meantime, Simley, Kelly behind them. They're just kind of backing off a little bit, Wesley. Here we go. Come out of 4.
Rivera goes to the inside, to the outside. Here comes Kelly. He'll get a run on Leah. They'll come to the line 2 by 2 at the stripe. It's New York, New York's Nelson Rivera. He will win duel number 1. Donnie Leah will hold on for second spot. Kelly made a move on the outside lane coming out of turn number 4. Just came up short. He'll settle for third. And the rest of the field coming across the line from New York, New York, in that Ford Mustang number 22 for Laurie Esports, as well as turn 1 heroes. The 56-year-old Nelson Rivera takes a caution-free NC81 duel number 1 at Daytona. Kevin, your thoughts of what we just saw Rivera do? And the question is pitting before after halfway the way to go to win this race next in duel 2?
Yeah, these guys showed some prowess there, that they were so tight together. They were able to keep the pace after pitting. And I would have thought the short pit stop, less fuel, would have been better for that second group, but they proved us wrong here as he's going to burn it down on the front stretch. What I know is everybody's going to look at these races and try and see what the runs were at the end. That second group kind of fell apart. A couple guys tried to get speed, and they're all going to be taking notes to see what they're going to take to get that winning move next week for the Daytona 500K.
And you know, John, the thing is, the race went caution-free, but it was pretty darn entertaining. I mean, anybody could have came out of anywhere to win that race, as we even see more cars racing from the back of the pack to the start-finish line from our aerial coverage presented by Live Sim Racing. And this is actually now the second duel working on their open practice session now. John, your take of what we just saw. No yellow flags, but of course, again, great racing. I have to say, I was intrigued. I was impressed.
Yeah, as was I, Wesley. And, you know, we saw the graphic earlier. It said there's only 5 lead changes, but I swear, watching these guys duke it out, inside line pulling ahead, outside line pulling ahead, it felt like there was so many more lead changes of that. I look forward to this next duel. I believe it's probably also going to do a caution-free because we got some great drivers in that one as well. And now that we've seen a little bit of strategy play out for those 4 guys that pitted early, we might see something similar happen in this next duel.
Results are unofficial, but let's take a look at the unofficial results of Call Before You Dig duel race number 1 at Daytona. As we'll wait for that to pop up here on the aerial view high above the racetrack. And that's not it. Nelson Rivera is the winner. Understanding they're having something messed up here. Give him another shot. We'll try this again. By the way, Charles Wooten, Jeff Stabnow, Mason Heimbaugh in the production chair for Live Sim Racing coverage of iRacing on TV here. Nelson Rivera up 11 spots to win duel race number 1. Donnie Leah up 13 spots. He'll finish second. Mike Kelly made that daring run coming off the back straightaway to try to make a move to the finish. He'll have to settle for third. Scott Simley will finish in 4th. Byron Daly, the top 5. Josh Parker, Chris Cabot, Brian Macklin, Richard Beasley, and Trey Edison, your top 10. And remember, John, Josh Parker will be the man to lead him to the green next Monday night. His fast qualifier last Monday night.
Yes, he will. And I tell you what, Edson came home with a 10th, but he was looking really strong for the other part of that race, and we'll keep an eye on him for the big show. Doyle Woods is 11th. I'm sorry, what was that, Cody?
No, Doy Woods was 11th.
Okay.
David Comstock was 12th. We're having some issues on timing and scoring here, guys. Tyler Dalton was 13th. Thomas O'Leary, the 4th, was in 14th. Bobby Weitzel, 15th. John Fowler, Eric Arnold, Mark Creighton, and Tyler Hunter, along with Anthony Calantoni, the top 20. John, you can give them the rest of the rundown of Duel 1.
Randall Watkins in 21st. Bob Gillenwater in 22nd. 23rd is Joe Livingston, Tommy Ryan, 24th, Paul Crumride, 25th, Daniel Falkingham, who missed the start of the race, finishes dead last in 26th, but I believe Daniel was already locked in, so he should be okay.
We are going to, and I'm understanding that the results had changed because we are now getting ready for dual race number 2. But Kevin England, I'll let you give your final thoughts of what we saw in dual race number 1. Nelson Rivera from New York, picking up the win. Connecticut driver Donnie Leah, a real modified racer and champion in his own right, hanging right there. Is the car just not capable of applying? You'll fall to the back, or is it we saw what we saw because these guys knew they're in the show? Does that make you race differently, Kevin, because you know, regardless of what happens, you're in the race on next Monday?
Yeah, I think a couple of these drivers use this race as a shakedown. I think the great equalizer was that pit stop, too, and where they came out, and we were just trying to figure out the math. Unofficially, it looks like possibly Paul Crumrye, Anthony Calatoni, J. Randall Watkins, and Tyler Hunter missed the show. We'll, of course, wait for official timing and scoring to let us know. But, you know, these drivers, this is the final practice before getting to the main event. And, you know, I thought it was an entertaining race. I think we saw a lot of interesting dynamics as we watch the field race around here with this new car package.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll grab a word with the top 3 finishers of dual race number 1, and we'll get you set for dual race number 2. This is the NC811. Call before you dig duel at Daytona. It's iRacing on LSRTV.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
This is our series,
so many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember you can watch it and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
Welcome back to Daytona, Monday night, and the North Carolina 811 call before you dig dual races at Daytona. We just wrapped up a caution-free 30-lapper, but John, it was a good race. We had some excitement, some good moments. Nobody got their cars tore up. 4 guys are going home. 6 drivers are going home in Duel 2 coming up next after this practice session concludes.
6 broken-hearted men will be making that long journey back to their hometowns after this race. But yeah, Wesley, duel number 1 was exciting. We saw a lot of inside moving, outside moving. It was just, hell, even, a couple of guys went 3 wide trying to make a 3rd line, which is not something we are used to seeing at Daytona because it's a narrower track than Talladega. Daytona is a much narrower track, and you get really wicked loose coming off those turns. But hey, they made it work. So I look forward to another exciting duel race And, buddy, let's get it on.
Kevin, this is what you would call the hooligan race, and 6 drivers are going home next. What's your take of what we're going to see in this final 30-lapper?
Yeah, second verse, same as the first. These guys have to run wide open from the get-go, and I really feel like it's going to be an interesting race. The first one was a little tame. There are drivers with agendas to get into this race, and I think it's going to be a little more elbows up in this one.
30 laps, fuel at 50%. They're going to race under the lights. 2 attempts at a green-white checker if necessary. No fast repairs. 6 drivers are going home. And we're ready to give you your starting lineup for Duel race number 2. Charles Woods is on the pole. Jimmy Coleman, row number 1. Row number 2, we'll find Jose Gonzalez at the 26 to the outside. Jeff Ryan in 3. Row 3, got to go quicker. Chad Coleman, looking to make close to 400 starts in the SIM500 League in the 38. 49 to the outside, that's row 3. Row 4 on the grid, we'll find Ed Burrow in 21. Glenn Campbell in the 44. Row 4. Row 5, top 10, Shannon Wood, Ryan Howard.
11th row 11, Elliot Henderson, sorry, I messed up again. Mark Jorgensen Jr. and Mike Montesi in row 6. Row 7, Bentley Glazer in the 18. His outside, Robert Ferrari, the 3rd in the 77 car. Jacob Kaplan in the 11 cars inside row 8. Joey Katina out there in row 8 on the outside. Scott Stenzel, 42 car inside row 9. His outside, the 97, Jeff Hollingsworth. Inside row 10, Kevin DeBrown. Elliot Henderson, his outside, the 37. Row 11 finds Doug Simmons in the 04. His outside, Ron Holyfield, the number 1 car. Row number 12 finds Stoney Benfield in that 75 car. Doug Roth is outside in the 43 car. And that will be the end of it. By the way, Stoney Benfield is driving the NC811 call before you dig car tonight. And so is, I believe, Joey Jatina in that 14 car.
Joey Jatina out of Sims, Alabama, the man that created what is the SIM500 Esports League. You can race any night of the week. Go to sim500.com for more information. And while you're doing that, go to LSRTV.com and on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The field is set, ready for the mail car to bring them to the green flag. It's 30 laps. Charles Woods on the front row. To the outside, the 54 machine comes to speed along with Jimmy Coleman. Green in the air. LSR, feel the roar at Daytona. Last chance to make the 500K is green in turn 1.
We are
from Glendale, Arizona. Yes, 71 years old. Number 40, Charles Woods for Old Guys Rule out in front. What an age difference as now Gonzalez will go to the lead. We got teenagers, we've got veteran drivers going at it here, and we're 2 laps in with Gonzalez down to the lead. John on 2.
just like that. Gonzalez and Coleman push out the front right there. Going to leave Doy up there. Charles Woods up there, kind of looking for some help to get pushed back up front. I'll tell you what, these cars, Wesley, we talked about this top of the show pre-race. The suck up, the draft of these cars can be so unexpected sometimes. As we see now on the outside, Jeff Ryan in that 3 car, been pushed to the lead by Mr. Mons there in the 49 car. It's just so fast. Good Lord, they look like they were shot out of a cannon.
Out of a cannon, they come through the tri-oval, and Jeff Ryan, that is, to the lead, a little sideways for a moment. Howard, Gonzalez, Campbell, Stenzel losing some ground. We bring back in our statistician for the series, Kevin England. Kevin, from these young stars, veteran men like Woods at 70-plus years old, what a different genre of ages on the SIM500 League tonight at Daytona.
Yeah, that's the great thing about this. You have a lot of these drivers who are what we would refer to as OG. Back in the day when we were starting out in sim racing, running Hawaii Ace League and other things, some of these guys were present back then. I remember them, and you know, here they are running with the young bucks, and they still got a lot of gas in the tank here. How about 60-year-old number 44, Glenn Campbell on the inside lane? He's got it going on, man. He looks good in that Trans-Service car.
And if you remember a couple of weeks ago, guys, he won the season finale Trans-Service SIM500 Blizzard Series winner deal. And now the 44 strong in that third spot. But here comes Howard up on the outside, and another call before you dig. Entry number 33 passing him, trying to take Stenzel with him as now Gonzalez hooks up with Campbell on the bottom of the racetrack. They roar to turn 3, 5 in this time by.
I'll tell you what, Wesley, that outside line is looking strong right now. You got Stenzel back there. You got Joey Chatini in that 14 car. They're really making that outside line look fast right now. You got DeBrown back there in the 93. Man, they are just really making that outside line move right now. That inside line, they need to get a little bit more nose to tail. They need to close it up a little bit, try and close that gap up some.
Working off of turn number 2 to the super stretch on the back straightaway. Plenty of runoff. Remember, for the longest time, there used to be grass, and then they determined that when the road course obviously was built, that the clearing of the turf grass and making it just a flat pavement surface would be better for cars losing control or crashing. We've not seen any of that tonight, but we do see the conga line now going 2 by 2. The merry-go-round back in front to Jeff Ryan as they work through the tri-oval. Outside lane looking to be better than the inside as they go back to turn 1.
Inside lane changes it up. Outside line changes it up. It's kind of hard to tell, Wesley, who's going to be leading this thing from one point of this track to another. And it's really just all about, you know, how closely connected the front end is, the back end of those cars and those lines, I guess, is what we're looking at here. We saw this in the last duel. I mean, you got one point in the track where the outside line is going to move forward about 5 or 6 car lengths, and you got another point in the track where the inside car moves. So it's pretty fun to watch, man. This draft is just unbelievable. And I love these shots we're getting from Cody down into the trailer. These, I call them the puppy dog window shots, man. It looks, you know, it's like a dog would see when he's hanging his head out the window.
And there you see Campbell and Gonzalez wagging the tail on the donkey, if you will, as they go back into turn number 1 on the inside, right there with each other. But the top 5 up on the outside lane, Steve single file. No one jumping out of line. Kevin, is that what the talk is? The outside lane is the preferred groove, but that's kind of different at a lot of racetracks, especially here at Daytona. But is this next-gen car providing better outside lane racing like we saw in the first race as well?
I'm kind of surprised at this myself. Usually the inside lane being shorter and with an organized group is the faster way around, but it looks like with the push of Munz to Ryan's been really on a roll lately, finding some speed in that 3 car. I think it's just the sheer speed on the outside that's carrying that lane forward. They're having a really good run up there.
The native out of Georgia, 54 years old, Jeff Ryan out in front, leading the way. Campbell in that number 44 machine, Trans-Service entry, now trying to get around the gamer number 44, 49 at Mounds, and Mons will stay in that spot. I just love these different age brackets here. You got a 49-year-old there. Of course, Mons on the racetrack, Justin Mons, watching them working their way around the speedway. And Justin Mons, of course, normally last year in the 41 car, he's from Glen, St. Mary, Florida, 34 years old for Dark Horse Motorsports. And there's Campbell's car, Gonzalez behind him, back to the line, 2/3 of the way to go, 20 to go at Daytona, and still nobody breaking out of line yet, but Ryan leading back to 1, John.
Yeah, that outside line is looking stout right now. I tell you what, if I'm Glenn Campbell or Jose Gonzalez down there the inside line, I'm thinking about jumping up to the outside line here pretty soon. It just seems like they're so much stronger and faster on that outside right now. I mean, look at how much room they've lost, how much ground they've lost. And as I say that, you see that car. You got Kevin DeBrown ducking down the inside, trying to make something happen there. They got the 97 car of Hollingsworth dumping down the inside, trying to make something happen. See if maybe they can't pull Glenn Campbell and Jose Gonzalez maybe a little quicker to the front.
Gotta remember, you gotta hold your line as there goes that whole pack right there across the start-finish line. That's the entire field on board cam now to the bottom right of the monitor. That is with Glenn Campbell, the Rhinestone Cowboy, the SIM500 League, trying to now make his way through the field. Remember how excited he was, John, when he won the finale 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago for the Blizzard Series.
Absolutely. He was about as happy as I've heard him in a while. And that car looks great, sitting down there in the inside line, but I'm still thinking maybe he just needs to really consider jumping up there behind Joey. As I say that, Joey looks like he's trying to make up his mind if he wants to come down that inside line or stay up high.
So my girlfriend, Jackie, is a big fan of tacos, and his guy is called a Big Macho, and he's from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Jose Gonzalez, the macho taco, if you will, going to the inside, and he's right there behind Campbell. And at one time when this race started with under 20 to go, John, he was up in the lead. There's so many different lead changes we've seen so far in the opening 10 laps of this race, and we're not done yet.
Kevin talked about names earlier that he didn't, wasn't quite familiar with. I mean, Monza's one we're not familiar with. We didn't see him in the Winter Series very often. And look at him, he's now out front. Well, not out front, but right there riding in second place, helping push Jeff Ryan to the lead. And we got cars ducking down for those pit stops we talked about, led by Joey Jatina and Glenn Campbell coming down pit road.
Jatina is in, Gonzalez is in, Campbell is in, Coleman is in, Wood, Montesi, Sigmund. Is this the right play? You're a sitting duck if you did what the other guys did. Could, Kevin, these cars that just pitted be the ones that could win the race? I'm feeling deja vu is happening again, just like in Duel 1, and no caution flags yet either.
Yeah, this is the SIM500 Mafia team. These guys all watched the first race, saw the advantage the first group that pitted got, and as soon as they got to the point where they think they can make it, they're all out. The key thing here is not to leave anybody, especially Doug Sigmund. He needs to make sure that he doesn't lose the draft here and these guys take care of him, because he's got his race his way into this field for next week.
And the only difference of what we just saw happen around 14 laps to go was when everyone else came in. Everybody, John, was in perfect sequence pitting like in Duel race number 1.
And that's what it takes. No mistakes. Be in sync with your teammates. Make sure you guys get in and get out together. Like Kevin said, you don't want to leave anybody behind when it comes to teammates. Not right now. Now, later on during the, towards the end of the race, I believe, again, that teammate things will go out the window. But I think this is the right call for these guys, especially because they're a bigger team. We saw 4 cars do it in Duel 1, and it worked for them. Rivera wound up winning the race. So I think this is going to work out for these guys as well.
And that pack right there with one another again, 30 laps, fuel percent window at 50%. And again, 2 attempts at the green white series. Flag to flag in race 1. So far, no yellow in race 2. 6 drivers will not make this event. Of course, the strategy is, again, no fast repairs. 4 sets of tires, the 3 that are in the pit lane and the 1 set on the car now. No fast repairs. This is a fixed setup league. And right now, besides those cars that just pitted, John, they better pit with under 5 laps to go or before 5 laps to go, and they're going to get a penalty if they pit under that. You've got to know when you got to pit. And obviously, here comes some more peeling off. Dropping down is leave Holyfield. I'm sorry. Yeah, here comes some cars pitting. This is Holyfield. I was right. Glazier is in. Holyfield is in. Glazier's in. And the 70-year-old driver, Woods, is also on the pit lane, John, which was actually very different than the first duel, where we are now going to have 3 packs broken up here that are pitting.
Very well spread out, too, I might add. I mean, this could, and I don't know what happened to Stoney Bidfield in that 75 car. We saw him just now going a lap down to the leaders. I thought that he pitted in with Joey and those guys. I may be mistaken on that, so I'm not sure if he got a penalty or he just slid through his box or what, but he goes to a lap down. Now, that's going to make 3 packs, like you said, Wesley, and I think that's going to make things a little more interesting, I think.
Kevin, your take on that. We'll bring you in as we're halfway home, 15 down and 15 to go in Duel 2 at Daytona.
Yeah, 2 drivers did not have a good pit break. The Benfield car, he was a little late in getting in with that group, and the 04 of Doug Sigmund did lose that draft. For some of these guys, the only hope that they have is a caution, and once everybody gets pitted and this thing gets stretched out, their strategy is going to go a little further south. I don't know how this is going to work out for them.
Jorgensen, that's the Hellman's car, down to the inside. Howard up behind him, so is also Coleman in the 38 machine. They're now peeling off onto the pit lane. And this is now the 3rd time the cars have broken up from each other to pit. And still the top 3 have yet to pit. Ryan, Howard, Henderson, 13 to go. As you see now more cars pitting. The 38 machine. That is, of course, Chad Coleman from Pendergrass, Georgia. How about this, Kevin? He'll be making close to 900 starts. Start number 898 next Monday at Daytona.
Yeah, Coleman is like an Iron Man. He's just been around forever, and he's here almost any night they run, 7 nights a week, and he's in just about everything. And I'll tell you what, doesn't matter whether it's the Cup car, the dirt cars, the 87, he just is a wheelman all the way around. Don't count him out here in that tap-out tuning Chevrolet. Had a good pit stop there. They have good speed coming up.
Here they come.
And we'll see where they come in.
And Kevin, here they come. As you just said, John, here comes Ryan. Here comes Howard. Here comes Henderson. This will cycle the lead back around to DeBrown, John, as here comes now the three Musketeers in Duel 2 finally stop.
Taking tires, I didn't see that coming, to be completely honest with you.
Got a caution.
Oh, caution's out.
Trouble. Caution on the speedway. We got trouble on the racetrack. This will change everything. Boy, oh boy, these guys will pit without penalty. Everyone else is now going to be bunched up with the pack. And we've got caution out with 12 laps to go.
This is going to change everything, Wesley. This is going to bunch the entire pack back up. And it's Glenn Campbell. Oh, my goodness.
Glenn Campbell, the Rhinestone Cowboy, spinning already on the replay. This is off turn 2, John.
Looks like he's on the outside line right there. Right inside of him is free area, the 3rd in that 77 car. And, oh, I see what happened. They caught somebody that was slower on track, and it bunched everybody up right there. 3 wide. I talked about it, so it does not work well.
Yeah. Oh, he got turned.
Yeah.
I thought it was in turn 2. It's actually coming out of 3 and 4. As, man, he was right behind Joey Jatina and then a couple of other cars, and you're just, where do you go? Nowhere to go for Campbell.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate. But you know who this worked out for was those 3 guys we saw pitting.
Oh,
because
yes.
if it had gone green, they were going to lose the lead pack. Well, not lead pack, but they're definitely going to lose those top spots. But when the caution comes out, they freeze the field where everybody's at, and they were still out in front. So lo and behold, Jeff Ryan's going to come out of this thing with the lead. But like we said, Wesley, this is going to bunch everybody back up. So he may have the lead now, but the question is he going to keep that lead once we go back to green?
Couple of friends of the North Carolina 811 from the North Virginia 811 up in the top 2. That is, of course, Jeff Ryan and Ryan Howard. You see those Chevrolets right there? 11 laps to go. Haven't done this in a while. Boy, oh boy, Katie bar the door. We're ready to settle this here in Duel 2 to set the lineup for the 500K next Monday night. SIM500, NC811 call before you dig Cup Series, the duels, the finish when we come back. You're watching iRacing on LSRTV.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
10 laps to go. Caution coming out involving Glenn Campbell. A single car spin. Could have been a lot worse than it turned out to be. Welcome back to coverage of the SIM500 NC811 Cup Series. And this is the call before you dig duels at Daytona. iRacing on LSRTV coverage from the virtual World Center of Racing. I am Wesley Outland, John Muschin Jr. alongside, of course, our series SIM500 statistician analyst, Kevin England, is here. And Kevin, I'm going to toss it back to you as well, because you were giving us some really key points during the caution. And obviously, this opens the door for those six drivers that are possibly on the outside looking in. We haven't had a caution all night tonight until now. This could make it interesting for them to get back on the whip to come to the front.
Yeah, we're going to restack and repack this field. You know, we were watching the battle up front, and as interesting as that is, the secondary story is who does and doesn't get to make the cut for the big race next week. And there were a couple drivers that pit stop rotation was not kind to them, but for that out, you can pile wrap back in now and get into the line as they're trying to get things sorted out here in the lineup. And drivers like Doug Sigmund, like Stoney Benfield, they're right back in the mix. They get another shot at life.
And you know, one thing that I will say as well, John, is Jeff Ryan, Ryan Howard, Elliott Henderson up 17 spots, by the way, in third. Those three cars on the monitor right now that are actually at a snail's pace, as it looks like the pace car and the rest of the field is trying to run them down. That's why they're going slow by request of the SIM500 esports officials. But by doing so, though, John, they pitted, some changed even tires, got the caution, they exited off the pit lane, no penalty. They entered in the top three, they exited in the top three. What strategy they had?
I mean, you cannot ask for a better drop of luck right there than what happened. I mean, we touched on prior to the break. The pack was coming. I believe that was Jose Gonzalez and those guys were catching them really fast. And then the caution comes out, and lo and behold, they get to keep the lead. They came off a pit road ahead of all those guys. A little bit of a mix-up with the pace cars. We see the lights are off already. I think, Wesley, we're fixing to go back to green here, buddy.
Yeah, they literally had the field of top three stop in the back straightaway to let the rest of the field come to speed to run back down behind the pace car. They quickly cut off the pace car lights. They're ready to come back to the Geico restart zone, and green flag back in the air. 8 laps to go in dual race number 2. Ryan, Howard, Henderson, the three Musketeers back to the front after pitting. Caution, strategy, back to green in 1.
And that really worked out great for Stoney Benfield. Got his lap back on the lead lap now. But the question is, does cautions still breed cautions, Wesley. We see 3 wide in the back of the pack here.
Possibly. Let's take a look at the race analysis on the bottom left of the monitor. We showed it to you in the Duel 1. We'll show you where we're at so far here in Duel 2. 1 caution. There was a goose egg in the first race. 3 caution laps. 1 lead change, John.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah, because there's lead changes all over the racetrack, but they only count the 1 officially at the start-finish line, where they are coming at right now. 7 to go. Henderson, Gonzalez now moving to the inside as they go to turn 1.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because I'm telling you, if they counted at the scoring loops around the track, we'd probably be in the double digits by now, Wesley. But man, what a great race. Even with that caution, we still got a lot of position swapping going on here. A lot of duking it out, slicing and dicing, if you will, from the mid-pack on back. Guys trying to make their way into the show because they didn't make it on time.
Did you see that Castro machine fighting his way from the inside up to the outside lane? Look at Gonzalez under attack now by DeBrown. And Kevin DeBrown, Kevin England, driving a rainbow-colored car. Normally we see him in a black and silver 93, changing up colors for the season.
Yeah, you know you got your hands full when you look out the back mirror and you see Kevin there. He's one of the most aggressive drivers, but he's got a great veteran in Jimmy Coleman pushing him to it. And, you know, he's always got speed, but how about Speedy Gonzalez there on the inside? That low lane right now seems to be dropping off, but you look for that 26 to be in the mix at the end of this race. I guarantee it.
You say I say Macho Taco. You say Speedy Gonzalez. Ole, he's coming. He's after Coleman, the veteran of the SIM500 League. Gives him a punt in the pants from the rear. And behind his back deck lid is coming now DeBrown. 54 also closing in. That's Coleman. And 5 laps to go. When they come to the triangle this time by, they are tighter than the lid on a pickle jar. In the pack, right there. 5 remaining. Anybody can win from that group into turn 1. And look at Holyfield bobbing inside and outside. Watch the black Castro number 1. He's coming now, up now to 7.
That black Castrol number 1 car, man, that's a gorgeous looking car down there. He's right there behind Scott Stenzel down the inside. Those guys dropped from the outside to the inside, trying to make something work here. Right in front of Joey Jattina in that 97 car as well. It's in front of Joey. That's going to be Hollingsworth. They're trying to get something happening down there inside line, Wesley, but it's not happening. I'm not sure, you know, if it's because there's more cars up high or what, but it's just such a slow thing. And now we see Gonzalez and DeBrown have both jumped up high and ditched that inside line.
Yeah, he's gone to the outside lane, Ole, behind Glazier, and he's trying to make something work, and in doing so, he's also took DeBrown with him. 4 laps to go. Working on the outside lane is now Hollingsworth and Sigmund. Here comes Wood on that pack. Working outside lane, top 5 cars, single file. Howard, Henderson, Ryan, Mons, Jurgensen, right there, inside lane. Here comes now Benfield, Glazier, hooking up with Holyfield. Hollingsworth, they go to 3, 4 laps in, 3 to go when they come back around to the start-finish line.
Glazier drops down to the inside to try and lead that inside pack. As he does that, behind him, they break it up a little bit, going 3 wide. Oh, here we go. Gonzalez to the middle. DeBrown behind him in the middle. We got 3 wide coming through the tri-oval, Wesley, with 4 to go. Excuse me, 3 to go.
Kevin, do you sense a storm brewing? These cars are more bunched up together than Duel 1.
No doubt about it. These guys are going to defend their turf. Look at Benfield. He was running 18th before. You could have got the pencil out and crossed him off. He's running 6, has driven his way right back into the next week's event. All he's got to do right now is keep that thing pointed in the right direction, and Benfield's going to find himself in the lineup for next week.
But the question is, as we see these cars moving inside and outside, when do you make your move, and when do you have your teammate right there with you? If not, do you have a friend or foe alongside? Howard, Henderson, Ryan come to the line. 2 laps to go. 5 miles remain in Duel 2. The leader is Howard. Back to turn number 1 up on the outside lane.
2 to go. That outside line still looking really strong, but believe it or not, DeBrown and Glazier down there on the inside line, they are making headway. They are making their way up front. I think they need about 2 more cars to join them back there, and they're going to be up there fighting for that lead, Wesley, to go down to turn 3 with 2 to go.
staying in that pack. Right now, everybody's single file. It's Howard up on the outside lane. Henderson is there. Ryan will follow along with Mons. Outside lane. Jorgensen now sneaks to the top 5. Meanwhile, Brown, Glazer, Benfield working their way 2 by 2 as they work off turn 4 through the tri-oval. White flag in the air at Daytona. 1 to go in duel number 2. Howard out in front with the CRN. 1 to go is up. Final time around. Howard, one more chance to get it done in turn 1.
Down through turn 1, that outside line pulls ahead of the inside line just a little bit. They are slicing and dicing back there with 1 to go, but these guys up high, the first 5 or 6 or 7, they know all they got to do is just keep it going, keep it straight, going down the backstretch. And we see this now. We see the outside line breaking up. We got a turn, we got a crash.
Ryan gets turned. He's turning to the outside wall. There's Calamity going on to turn 3. Both cars wrecking. Henderson will stay in the lead. Henderson clears out in front. He'll hold off Howard. He'll hold off Jorgensen now, moving their way. Here comes Henderson now, under attack by Howard. Howard to the lead. He'll win duel race number 2. Checkered flag is out of nowhere. The outside lane opened up. Jorgensen followed. Howard gave him the punt. They come to the front. The assist, and Ryan Howard will duel race number 2 here at Daytona. A wild finish for the driver at the Phoenix, Arizona. Second spot again going to Jorgensen. Where did he come from? Right there, waited until it was the right time to go. And the 37-year-old from Abilene, Texas will finish in the number 2 position. And Elliott Henderson, who seemed to be the class of the field, at least on that last restart, John Mustian, falling all the way back to 3rd as that driver lost momentum. But it all started when the 3 of Jeff Ryan got turned on the back straightaway. Howard winning in, ironically, our friends of the north of North Carolina, the Virginia811.com Chevrolet.
I am breathless from that finish, Wesley. That was just one of the most exciting finishes I think we've seen here at Daytona in a long time. God, I love this new package. I love watching these guys put it to work. And man, I mean, where did the 33 come from with that run coming off of 4 on that last lap? That was just amazing to watch, and he's going to burn it down now. Wesley, I'll tell you what, man, if this is any indicator of what we're going to see next week, I cannot wait for next Monday to get here.
Kevin, your take. Last race, we knew a storm was brewing. There was a snake's patch, and it was in the front of the pack. And even an awesome finish there. Howard making it work. Crossover. We saw it work. He got around on the outside of Henderson and got the win.
Yeah, certainly an elbows up finish, but the interesting story was on the backstretch. We had the 38 sliding down the backstretch on his roof and took out a handful of cars, and it jumbled up that stat for who's going to be into next week's race. We know Friery, he didn't have a good run, and we also know that Jacob Kaplan did not have a good run, but the rest of them, we're just going to have to wait till timing and scoring tells us who made the cut.
Is there any way that our production truck can show you the crash on the back straightaway? We're trying to find that out right now. Obviously, we saw the 3 get turned as they were exiting the backstretch going to turn 3 when Ryan got turned. But then, obviously, John, you want to follow the drama at the front of the field with the leaders. You knew there was calamity. We could hear crashing and smashing like Kevin reiterated on. But the battle up front, we kept our camera on to show you the finish. We're going to see if our production truck can possibly show you what happened if that wreck, as I believe right now we're understanding that that's what they're working on, is to show us a replay of, don't say this is disrespectful, John, where all hell broke loose down the back straightaway, and you knew that this was bound to happen as bunched up as that pack was on the white flag lap.
Absolutely. I'm going to be honest with you. This was, to me, this is kind of a result, I wouldn't say direct result, but definitely a result of the first caution we had, because if it hadn't been for that first caution, we would have probably had 3, maybe 4 different packs of cars stretched out all over this track. But that first caution kind of bunched everybody back up. And like you said, Wesley, it was just bound to happen. It wasn't if, it was when it was going to happen. Unfortunately, it sounds like it took some of these guys out. And here we go with our replay right now.
There you see the cars, top 3. Henderson and Howard going at it. Ryan gets turned by the 49 by Mons, and then More cars pile in. Just nature of the beast. When the track is blocked, you've got nowhere to go. Everybody starts zigging and zagging. Obviously, we see what happened to the 3 cars, but I'm understanding that there was other cars tore up. There's the Brown all tore up. That might be a guy that we should move in on. The 54 machine also of Jimmy Coleman. All of these cars, the Brown driving in reverse. Ricky shades of the driver trying to go in reverse to try to finish this race, if you will. And that is what happened.
One car was in on that.
Wow, Holyfield, yeah. Glazer there as well.
Man.
Let's give you the results. Work on the production truck by, of course, Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten getting it done. Ryan Howard, Duel 2 winner. Look at the interval, 0.150 seconds over Mark Jorgensen Jr., the driver from Texas. Elliott Henderson will settle for 3rd. The native out of Arizona will fall back to 3rd. Stoney Benfield 4th. Jose Gonzalez, Macho Taco, obviously Speedy Gonzalez got it done, top 5. Shannon Woods 6th. Ed Burrows 7th. Jeff Hollingsworth, Charles Woods, Joey Jatina. Problems, he finishes in the top 10. Some new names, John, at the rundown top 10 when that race and that wreck happened at the finish.
Yeah, that race really, that wreck really, swiveled things up a little bit there. 11th, Doug Simon. 12th, Scott Stenzel. 13th, Justin Monzos. One of those names we're talking about. Hadn't talked about him before. We're talking about him now, though. The 14th place was Robert Fryer III. 15th was Jeff Ryan, that 3 car. Even after leading so long, it's a heartbreaker to wind up getting wrecked like that. The 16th place goes to Ron Holyfield in that 1 car. 17th, the 18 car of Bentley Glazer. These are all guys that were involved in this last lap wreck here, Wesley. Jimmy Coleman, 18th, Doug Roth, 19th, and Kevin DeBrown 1 lap down in 90th, in the 20th spot right there.
Yeah, got caught up in that
21st.
accident there. We saw it on the replay.
Yeah.
Chad Coleman, Glenn Campbell, another driver that was really good at the top of the pack. Chad Coleman, one of those drivers looking at 900 career starts in the SIM500 League in the next couple of weeks, 21st. Jacob Kaplan there, along with Mike Montesi with problems as well. Kevin, before we do our post-race interviews in the top 2 duels, your take on what we saw. Race 1 was good. Obviously, Duel 2 was better. And I think we're going to have a hell of a 500K at Daytona for the SIM500 Call Before You Dig Cup Series round 1 in the points next Monday night.
Yeah, for those guys that made it, boy, they're smiling and they're ready to go for next week. For the guys that didn't make the cut, they're going to have to wait till we get to the next one. I look at this, and a lot of drivers are going to go back and watch this over, watch the dynamic of the pit stops, how things came together, how the cars blended together. There's some news and notes to learn from this, but next week it's a reset, and we're going to run the Daytona 500K, and, well, that's going to be just as exciting as this, if not more.
By the way, Kevin, can you tell us the 10 drivers that have been eliminated? Obviously, 4 were out from Duel 1, 6 here in Duel 2. Who are the 10 drivers eliminated for the race next Monday?
Looking at this race, it's a little bit difficult to figure out where it was. I know that Jacob Kaplan, Ron Holyfield from that incident, he finished 16th. Robert Fryery, 14th. 13th was Justin Mons, who led a good majority of the race. Those 4 are in trouble. Doug Sigmund, I believe he made the cut, but I think we're just going to have to wait for timing and scoring to get that straight. I'd hate to call somebody out and get it wrong.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, what a scrap for those guys, especially with that incident on the final lap.
Going to be a fun one next Monday night. 500 kilometers, almost 130 laps right here at the Virtual World Center of Racing next Monday for the first round of the SIM500 NC811 Cup Series. Quick break. When we come back, we will talk to the Duel 1 winners. We'll talk to the Duel 2 drivers in the top 3, and then John, Kevin, and I will wrap things up. This is iRacing on LSRTV. The Duels presented by NC811. They were wild. Remember, call before you dig. We'll wrap it up with posts when we return.
And welcome back, folks, to the post-race show here on LSRTV. You just finished watching the duels for the NC811 call before you dig SIM500 Daytona Speed Weeks. I tell you what, this was probably, I'm not even going to lie, one of the best Daytona races finishes I've seen as far as that duel number 2 goes. But hey, guess what? We've got 3 guys to talk to from duel number 1. That's your winner, Nelson Rivera. Second place, Donnie Leah. Third place, Mike Kelly. And we're going to start off with third place there. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing good. Yeah, we kind of stunk it up, I guess, compared to the finish of that second one, huh?
I wouldn't say you stunk it up. I mean, you guys had an exciting race as well. There was some strategy going on. You know, when you guys pitted early like y'all did, we were questioning it. I'm not even going to lie about it. You'll see it on the replay when you go back and watch it. But it worked out for you. Talk to us about the decision to do that real quick.
Yeah, we just, we kind of planned it before the race started, and then as it went on, it was opening up to come to fruition, I guess you would say. And we were like, you know, do it like a road course, whatever. As soon as the window opens up, get in. And, you know, the hard thing is the plan is to get 4 cars in and 4 cars out with somebody not speeding or slide through their pit stall. And boy, we really executed it well there. And when we came out, and then, you know, we figured if a yellow comes out after that, fine, we'll just wrap around and be at the front of the field. But it worked out perfectly, stayed green, and we had a 4.5-second lead after it was all said and done.
Kevin, you got anything, bud?
Yeah, tell me, Mike, what did you guys learn from this car tonight? It's a little bit different package that we raced with over the winter, and how did it run in the draft, and what do you think you got for next week?
Well, I think if we can put together a plan like we did tonight and all stay alive and maybe hopefully have one more guy with us if Robert gets in, we kind of learned that you can just dictate what you want to do as long as you can stay together in your little team pack and stay on the lead lap, run up front. We were running faster laps with the 4 of us versus the pack there before they got lined up. So I think we got a chance. If we all get wrecked out or you're on your own, I can't tell you what's going to happen because this car's so unpredictable. You don't know if the top line's going to be good or the bottom line. It's going to be one heck of a race.
Well, you said it, Mac. I think that, like I said, if tonight's races are any indication of what we're going to see next week, I cannot wait to get to next Monday night. Well, look, man, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to for your third place run there?
Yeah, T1H. I guess, you know, these guys got to come in and come up with new stuff to say that we haven't already talked about. But what a great job, Nelson and Scott Simley, who didn't get to come in and talk, but he was right there with us, ran the race perfectly. And Donnie, of course, ran a flawless race, and we executed well. So poor Robert got left out all by himself in the second duel. And NC811 running them on the trunk now, so got to thank them for coming on for the season. Everybody at LSRTV and SIM500, awesome job. This has been a great show so far, and it's going to be a good race.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Mike. Congratulations on that third place run. There's third place, Mike Kelly. Moving on now to some guy that I don't even know who this guy is. Somebody named Donnie Leah. How you doing, Donnie? Congratulations on that second place run, man.
Hey, I'm doing good, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, great race for us, and it all came together. Not a whole lot more to say other than you know, Mike kind of covered it all. I want to thank the guys. That's it. You know, Turn 1 heroes. I'm very lucky to be, you know, in a group of guys that you know, it's a team deal. I was the only one in our race that needed to race his way in, and I mean, the guys all, you know, as Nelson said before the race started, you know, we're here trying to help Donnie get in the race. So I mean, you know, to have a team like that they're all there just to help you get in the race is just pretty lucky to be a part of that group, and I just need to thank all them guys.
Yeah, Donnie, this year, are we going to see a full-time schedule out of you?
Yeah, I say it every year. I'm going to try. You know, man, it's tough, but I really would like to try and make you know, most of the races, and at least enough to, you know, get some drops along the way, and go for the championship and just be able to help the guys out. It's just a lot of fun running with these guys every Monday, and you know, work gets in the way quite a bit, but yep. You know, yeah, just gonna give it a shot for sure. But thank you guys for doing this. The broadcast, I heard it in the background, sounded awesome. You know, everybody involved with us in SIM500 for helping out and everything. I mean, Mike pretty much covered it all, but big thank you, Turn 1 heroes, for having me with them guys. It's a lot of fun.
Well, Donnie, I guess you covered your shout-outs, man. So one last thing from me. It's great to see you out there. Everybody that knows you're a very calm, cool, collected guy on the track, and it seems like that's really kind of transferring over pretty well to this Cup car. What are your thoughts on this new package? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I was a little undecided on it at first, but it's kind of growing on me. I'm starting to like the idea that it's a reset, start from scratch kind of deal for all of us. Need to learn, figure it out. So some guys will pick up on it quicker than others. They've been changing the car a good bit in iRacing as they learn more about it and what's going on with their package in real life. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think at the end of the day, the racing will be good. As we all learn, right? It's a chance for everybody to kind of, level the field out a little bit as we all figure it out. So I think I'm looking forward to it. And I just want to get back racing. I feel like we haven't been racing a whole lot with the Cup car or the Monday series. It's been a few weeks now off. So I'm just looking forward to get back racing, period.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Kevin said it best, man. Looking forward to seeing you on track this year. I'm hoping that you get to make a full run, man, because I've got a feeling that you're going to give Falkingham a run for his money this year. There you have it, folks. Second place driver, Donnie Leah, the Mystic Missile driver. Man, I loved watching him in that damn modified. That was fun to watch. But, hey, we've got the winner of duel number 1 here to talk to, Nelson Rivera. Nelson, John Mushin, you got me, buddy?
We got you.
Man, first place, duel number 1. How did that feel for you?
That felt great, considering this is my first ever SIM500 Monday League win in 3 years.
What?
So yes, I've been in these races for a while. I've been in this league for a while, but that's actually the first official SIM500 win. I know it's a duel, I know it's a qualifying race, but I will take it. Hopefully it'll carry over through the season. But tonight's main objective was complete in duel number 1, get Donnie Leah in the show. And I'm proud of how we executed that as a team. And I just happened to be the lucky one that left pit road first. And I stayed first, obviously, because we were drafting, but any one of us 4 could have won that race. I was just the lucky one to win tonight.
Well, Nelson, man, let me tell you, congratulations. That's a big thing. People don't understand. Let's just say that real quick. People don't understand how much talent there is in the SIM500 group. Outsiders don't get it. I didn't get it when I first started racing with you guys, but there is a ton of talent. And for you to finally get your first win on Monday night, and yeah, it was a duel, but dude, it counts. Trust me, okay? Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. And you're right. It's some of these races, I'm a ball of sweat after the race from working so hard just to stay in the top 20. So, yep, exactly what you said.
I got to say, Nelson, that's a shock to me. Watching you race and how fast you've been, and I'm shocked. Congratulations on that. That's really cool. I would not have guessed that would have been your first win. And, the question I have is, well, job number 1, done. Get a win right out of the gate. How is this going to help your confidence for next week?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident right now with this car. I don't know. This car feels like I have a good feel of the balance of this car. I know it's only Daytona, and we'll find out exactly what this car can do at Auto Club next week, or the 2 weeks. But so far it's so good. So confident. The team is clicking well. The only I want to mention, the only dark spot about tonight was our 5th teammate. He ran the second duel by himself. They didn't have much help. Robert Friery, and you guys know him well in that Rusty Wallace throwback paint scheme. He didn't get in the show. He missed it by 1 driver. So that's the only dark spot. So it's kind of like, I got mixed feelings about tonight. We had such a perfect race 1, but we didn't get the last guy in the show.
Well, that is unfortunate, but there is a long season ahead of you guys, and this is really the only time that this kind of format's used. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys get your teammate, get his spirits up, get him out there on the track, and help him out. You have anybody you want to give a shout out to here, Nelson?
No, just to Turn 1 Heroes guys. LaRue Esports is my sponsor. Give a shout out to them. Just looking forward to next week.
Well, there you have it, folks. Tonight's winner of duel number 1. And Yeah, that's gonna do it for. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back and do a few more things. Close out with our thoughts. We're gonna get Wesley back in here somehow. He's having some technical issues, but we'll get him back in here, and we're gonna talk a little bit about tonight and look forward to next week. So please stay tuned. We're taking a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up with a post-Trish show.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's Wesley Outlet on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
And welcome back, folks, to our post-race show here for the North Carolina 811 call. Before you dig Cup Series, Duels at Daytona. We had a hell of a time tonight. Great racing all around. Some unfortunate heartbreak for some drivers in the SIM500 not making it to the show next week, but we will charge on. It was a great run here at Daytona tonight. We saw some great things with these new cars. We had some questions checked off and answered. Not many more questions left, to be honest with you. I saw what I expected to see tonight. And I loved it. Kevin, you got any last thoughts, man?
Yeah, I just think the prelims are an exciting time for these drivers to get back in that sense of the timing, the car, the field, the drivers. There's some new faces to learn. All of that's out of the way now. Next week when they strap in, it's going to be the real deal. They got to be careful. And, again, we'll follow the story this week. I believe Ryan Howard, Mark Jorgensen, Stoney Benfield, Shannon Wood, Ed Burrell, Doug Sigmund, they made the race. I know some that I don't believe made the race. Tyler Hunter, Calatoni, Crumry, DJ Beverly, Justin Mons crashed in that final race. 43rd starter, I believe. He's going to make it in on virtue of his fastest time, and we'll watch the forums this week to see where that is. But, for some of these drivers, heartbreak, and my heart goes out to them. They want to be in the big show, and they'll have to watch it from the sidelines. They'll be back to the second race of the season. But, John, an outstanding race here tonight. Good start to the season, and I'm looking forward to Daytona, the real deal, next week.
As am I, my friend, as am I. I had a great time in the booth with tonight. Wesley Outland was with us. We kind of lost him there for some technical issues. But, folks, we have a long and great season ahead of us here with the North Carolina 811 Cup Series here, the SIM500 guys. If you want to be a part of this show, not really this show, but if you want to be a part of sim racing, drop by iRacing.com and check out what they've got. It's not just NASCAR. They've got everything from dirt to Indy to road racing series, all kind of great stuff. Stop by and check it out. And then go by sim500.com once you get your iRacing account and check these guys out. They've got racing every night of the week. They got the Cup cars. They got the trucks. They got Xfinity. We do ARCA, Midnight Thunder, all kind of neat stuff. Just go by Sim500 and check it out. And make sure you tune in next week for the Daytona 500K for the North Carolina 811 Cup Series here at the Sim500 Racing League. For myself, Wesley Outland, Kevin England, and down in the booth, sorry, the truck, giving us these gorgeous 4K images, Cody Wooten.